Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Vivian from ThePaperLetterBlog and today I'm here with a 2-in-1 video. I'm going to create a project and I'm also going to show you a project I have received.
Okay, quick voiceover because I do not like how I was talking in this video. I filmed this over a year ago, so give me a little bit of a break. Basically, I joined in a swap in the Dutch swapper group that was hosted by Tessa, and the objective of said swap was to recreate one of my videos, namely the Zig Zag Flipbook. So I'm first going to show you the one she sent me, and then I am of course going to make my own version again, following my own tutorial, which is really weird, but it was actually kind of fun to do.
Quickly show you the incoming mail. So this is the envelope. I'm just covering up my address and my name because that is private. Look at these bird stamps. It's all kind of bird themed. So fun. So I'm just quickly going to show you her mail and then I'm gonna make my own. So like I said, it's a zigzag flipbook, meaning that if you look here, you will see a zigzag shape. It's super simple and that is why I love it. So just quickly taking you through it. If you open it, first of all, you have the little window with the bird in it. Cute. And then you have a collage on this side as well as on this side, and then a little washi tape sample. I did that on this page as well, except mine were, I put mine here with a little string, so they were like hanging there. I thought that was kind of cute as well. And then you can also open it the other way to reveal much more goodies. So I think, I mean, I'm not like the first one to come up with this, but it's such a fun layout and you can add so many goodies. So that is why I love sharing these types of projects. In the first pocket up here, we have a bunch of tags and then this dove. And then these tags with little eyelids. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do something similar because this is like modeled after my video. But I am going to make it a little bit different because of course it would be boring if I just did the same exact thing. And then there's this little baggie with labels, which I love. And these little vellum. I've seen so many of these also in my PO box opening videos. So you've got all of these little labels and more of the vellum. And some die kits and stickers. Whoops. So all of this in that little pocket. And then we also have a tuck spot here. This also held the letter, but I took that out for privacy reasons. And then there's some little journaling pieces here as well. And this is the paper. Absolutely beautiful with the big florals. And for today, you may have already noticed it laying here in the background. I figured I would use this paper pad. I purchased this paper pad from Action, our dollar store, a couple months ago, but at the time, I really wanted to work with pastels and like spring type colors, and this is of course a little bit dark, so I put it aside to use in winter, basically. But it's actually a super rainy, grey day, and I really feel like working with like some kind of vintage style, so I'm just gonna go for this. I was thinking of using this paper, but that would mean that I would have to chop off the flowers here, and I don't like that, so I actually decided to go for another one. This one, because look, when you use this template, you can see that you can still see all of the florals.
I was having a super rambly day. I just decided to cut it short and go over to voiceover. The reason why I love this tutorial is because everyone can make it. I have the tools that you see me use here, such as the scoreboard, but you literally only need scissors for this because I'm using the scoreboard. You can use scissors. I'm using the scoring tool, but you can just fold it. It's super simple. And best part is you don't need any measurements. So if you haven't made one yet, I definitely suggest you do so. You could see, sorry for my head again. When I made this video, I didn't learn to not do this. But you could already see what I was doing. Basically, what you start with is you cut a piece of paper into a diagonal shape. So the left side is higher than the right side. The measurements do not matter. You can make the right side a lot shorter if you like, so that the zigzag is more dramatic, or you can do it like mine, which is kind of a small diagonal. I don't think that's the correct way to say it, but you could see what I was doing, right? One side is longer than the other side. And then you are going to fold it into thirds. So each panel is 1/3 of the size. So I used a 12-inch paper. So all 3 of my panels were 4 inches wide. That is literally it. You don't even have to measure it. You can, of course, it will probably look better if you measure it because I'm kind of messy, but I love this. Simple and effective, if you ask me. The next thing I did is I made those little windows on the front. I am out of frame here, but it's giving me some time to catch up. I made those little windows on the front. I decided to do 2, which was like my idea of trying to do it differently from my previous tutorial, and I'm actually going to make a shaker window behind the windows, a shaker pocket behind the windows. So what I'm doing here is I just used some like recycled wrapping paper that was around probably a sticker bag, and I put that behind the windows to create the window. Good story, Vivian. And then I die cut another square to be the frame. Because of course when you do see-through paper you're going to see it on both sides, so I also wanted it to look pretty when you open the flipbook and not just when it's closed. So someone sent me those adorable vintage paper stars, and I just knew I had to use them, so I am actually placing them on the window with some extra sequins, and then I glue some sort of vellum type paper on top. This is a little messy because of course glue and the plastic that I repurposed didn't go well together. It wouldn't stick, and then the vellum wouldn't stick, and I made a whole mess. And I also made this pretty frame, and it didn't cover up all of the mess that I made with the glue, so I'm trying to do some rescue operations with some washi tape. It doesn't look perfect, but I do still think it looks kind of fun. It's definitely not. The idea was probably cuter than the outcome, but that's a learning experience, and I still think it looks kind of cute. So yeah, and it's not really visible now, but you can actually move the sequins around, so I think that is cool. I also love, last thing I'm going to say about it, I also love, okay, they're not really moving as much as I want them to. I love using paper instead of plastic sequins. So to the person who sent me those stars, I'm sorry, I don't remember who you are, but I absolutely love that. It's sustainable, and I really like that, and I think it's also pretty because it's vintage paper. So the next thing I'm doing is I was trying to kind of recreate that style that some people who journal have. I'm not very comfortable with it yet, as you can see, but if you need a proper example, I would suggest looking up Album Love Handmade. I absolutely love her collaging style. I basically used stamps to create a bit of a background, and then all sorts of thin pieces of paper. So we have some of that white crinkle paper that comes in shoe boxes. I'm sorry for the email notification. I have some collage paper, I have some craft paper, I have some music note paper, all sorts of things, book pages, just to create kind of a subtle collage, like kind of a subtle whole, like a, how would you say this? Yeah, a whole, like everything needs to match, and I found this very difficult, and when I was doing this I was very frustrated. I keep adding more and more things. I did not like how it turned out. I did like how it turned out, but I did not like the process, and I kept adding things, and I was like, how am I going to fix this? I was not happy. Throughout this video you will also see me change clothes quite a few times. I mean, that does not mean that I'm actually changing clothes, it just means that I worked on this for quite a while, is what I was trying to say. I basically worked on it for multiple days, which you can recognize by the different clothing styles. Good story, Vivian G. Try again. So I ended up saving it, in my opinion, by adding a beautiful floral on the front. That becomes kind of the focus point I still don't know if it's focal point or focus point, but basically the flower is going to be the thing that that grabs the eye's attention, and then my messy background doesn't matter anymore. And I also think the background becomes kind of okay once it's not the focal point anymore. I hope this makes sense. The reason why I'm telling you this whole story is because very often on the internet we seem to think that others are way better at what we're trying to do than we are. Like when I look at Album Love Handmade's post, I think I wish I could do that. But then I also know that people sometimes look at my posts and think I wish I could do that. So that is why I always try to include my failures and my, not necessarily failures, but my process, because it's not a failure unless you let it be a failure. Like with this page, I was really ready to rip out the whole page and just start again. But I just, especially when I messed up with the glue and everything. But because I kept working on it, I ended up actually really liking the end result. So it's not a failure until you decide that it's a failure, and I was happy to see that I could fix it in the end. So that's why I always share those kind of stories, because I think we're all pretty much the same. At least I always like seeing that not everyone is perfect, I guess. So I'm still collaging. What am I going to do next? I don't actually remember. As mentioned, oh yeah, I have these stickers from Maggie Holmes. I forgot what it says, but cool. And I of course write Tessa on there because that's her name. I love those little personalized touches when others do them, so I figured I would do that as well. I was going to say something and then I forgot. Oh yeah, I actually said that I made this well over a year ago. That is not true. I have it open on my computer and I started this project in June 2021. So that's not even a year ago. I was overreacting, but it is kind of fun to edit an older video. This is a towel I wrapped around my head because I was obviously just out of the shower. It's really fun to edit those videos that are kind of old because I don't remember what I did. And of course I do edit them before I do the voiceover, but usually I'll just skim over them so that nose that was my cat's butt who you just saw in the frame. I just skim over them because if I have to watch the entire thing 3 times it's a lot. So I skim and then I watch it and do the voiceover, and then I listen to the voiceover and I start again if I hate it. So I was still not pleased with the way I fixed this page, so I'm just going to add some more paper strips to it. And obviously you see in the top left corner my wax seal furnace because I'm going to add a little wax seal to it. I thought that would tie it all together, and honestly it did. I really like how this added some copper. I think it's copper, that color I guess is copper. Some copper touches and some interest to the page. I think it's very pretty. It's a little bit fast, but you know, you will see a close-up look at the end. It's a stamp from Note and Wish. And I of course had to add some extra little droplets around the page. I really like those. Looks a little bit like you spilled on the page, but pretty. So there's that. Oh yeah, one last thing about the wax seal furnace. Do not buy it because I had been using it for a long time. Maybe it's okay if you use it only occasionally, but I had been using it for a long time and for some reason it suddenly caught on fire. So do I recommend it? No. After it caught on fire, I purchased I have to admit, I got sent a metal one from Crossfire. Very much recommend, because fire is scary when you're in a room full of paper stuff. So do not recommend a wooden tool that can catch on fire. Then this beautiful rose image is from an actual vintage book. The one on the front is a sticker, and this is from an actual vintage book. And I cut it out carefully, and I'm kind of proud at how precisely I managed to cut that out. This was a book that was gifted to me by our old neighbors from when I lived at my parents' farm. I think my mom might have told them that I would be interested in something like that, because I don't know how else they would have thought of me, but they gifted me this beautiful old book that they were no longer using and that they had in their stash, full of roses, and I couldn't be happier. It's such a joy to work with these images. And then I just first I inked the edges to make them look old, and then I realized I have an edge distresser tool, which is that thing. I have it from Craftelier. It's basically just a knife, a tiny little knife that you run along the edges of your paper, and then it looks distressed, you know, like it's torn. And I love that look. I think it looks really pretty because it's, once again, not perfect, and I like that. So I just decorated the edges with that ruffled paper look and some ink because I like that. It kind of ties everything together. Shout out to my friend Kira Pace because I learned that trick from her. The next thing we're doing is we have that vintage image, and then I have some actual vintage tickets and some vintage looking die cuts. Not that it matters, but some of them can be store-bought and others are very old. I like that combination. Some look old, some are old. And then I have this bin of pretty paper scraps that I can use for vintage collages. And I'm gonna make a vintage collage. Very good story, but you get the idea. So that's what I'm doing here. Obviously. I don't know what else to say about that. Let me just talk a little bit in general. How are you guys? How are you really? Because whenever someone says, how are you? We're all so inclined to say, I'm fine, how are you? But sometimes we're not fine, and that is okay. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, but sometimes it's nice to be able to talk to someone and say that we're not okay. So if I can be that person for you today, then feel free to leave me a little comment saying how you actually are. If you are fine, then I'm very, very happy for you. I'm actually having a pretty good day today, so that is good. I have a day off today, which is lovely. Not that I don't have many days off, but today is actually just a day off. So last weekend I visited my parents, which was awesome. I love being with my parents. But it's also nice to just have a day at home, being cozy with the cats and doing nothing in particular apart from whatever the hell I feel like. So today I mainly played The Sims, let's be honest. I didn't do anything interesting. But that's good. I love having days like that. So yeah, I guess that's that. Look at me making a collage. I'm once again doing that same technique. I'm still, like I said, learning how to do this and experimenting with it. Just paper scraps, same as on the front, paper scraps, and then some stamps to create a background. And another thing I love adding are, of course, washi dots, which is the little roll you see over on the right hand side. But anything works in this particular case. Even drawing circles adds a nice little layer, or washi tape. Wow, I lost the word there for a second. And of course, tickets. What I'm doing now is I'm using tiny word stickers, capture this moment. This was from before I made my own. So I'm just using this generic sheet from AliExpress that's full of Google Translate errors. But, you know, I found one that I liked, which said capture the moment. And then now I'm just going to go back and decorate another page. I love going back and forth and just working on whatever I feel like at the moment. Yeah. I just made a little pocket from some translucent paper. Vivian, stop with the head in the screen. It's so annoying. These see-through stickers, the black and white ones, are from Your Creative Studio. Wow, my brain blanked there for a second. Your Creative Studio, which is a stationery subscription, vintage stationery subscription that I sometimes receive. She sends them to me for free, and I love using them for videos, and then I'm usually left with a ton of products that I use at other times. The little note is obviously going to be my letter to Tessa. Usually when I do a swap, I like to include a personalized note. I feel kind of weird sending someone mail without writing something. It doesn't have to be long, but if it's someone I don't know, I would usually include a note or just a little hello and how my day has been going. I don't know if anyone cares about that, but you know, I feel kind of weird not doing that. Like in the past, I would do a lot of swaps, and then sometimes people would just include a literal note saying swap name, swapper name, and date of sending, and that would just feel so unpersonal. Like, you've spent all this time making me something. The least you can do is add a little note, right? I know not everyone is interested in writing long letters, but you know. I added a little split pin to the front as my closure, and then I also used the back of the split pin to add a little washi tape sample. I thought that was pretty neat and cute. I like those little tags. I say this all the time, but I'm gonna say it once more. I don't actually do swaps anymore because I have so many PO Books mails that I could reply to. I just don't feel that it's fair if I also do swaps, because I don't know, I don't make that much mail, and then sometimes I receive so much mail and I can't reply to everyone, and I still, even after all those years, feel kind of guilty about it. So I want to try and find the balance in that. So I don't actually do swaps anymore. The only swaps I do are over on my Patreon. I host swaps for my patrons that we can do together, usually in a theme. So if you've been interested in that, you can definitely join my Patreon and support the channel. Then over here I made 2 layered pockets. I'm doing it a little bit differently than the tutorial because, like I said, I already made this project once and I wanted to do something new. The back paper, the paper in the back, I don't know how else to say it, is actually coffee dyed paper. So it's just regular white printer paper, and I used coffee to paint it kind of brown and make it look vintage, and I think that's very fun. The front one is actually vintage, just an old book. Someone sent me that because it's in French. That means that someone must have sent it to me because I don't own any French books. And then I'm also decorating it with some washi tape stickers of tickets and other random things. Once I closed the flipbook, I realized that my pocket was too far on the edge, so it would wrinkle once I closed it. And then I used my trusty glue eraser to actually erase that glue. Definitely recommend. I once recommended the glue eraser. I got mine from Craftelier as well, and someone said I immediately purchased 5. You don't need 5. I'm still using the same one. I don't think it ever runs out. But I just was able to erase all that glue, and then I glued it back down in a different spot. Perfect. I also want to ask you guys one thing, or I want to say 2 things. First of all, I'm currently not using my external microphone. The quality has been kind of bad. It's kind of dying, I think. And since I now own a laptop, I figured I would give it a try. And I actually think the quality of this laptop microphone is pretty okay. So let me know, do you like my usual voiceover sound better, or is this okay? I think it's pretty okay. So there's that, first of all. And second of all, before I was talking about Album Love Handmaid's, she's an actual person, but I just love saying her Instagram handle, collage style that I love. Okay, I had to laugh because I got a very loving look from Sage, who is currently in the windowsill, looking at me being all happy above the heater. Focus. What was I saying? Oh yes, Album Love Handmade. I was talking about how I love her collage style and how you should check out her Instagram, but the previous video I uploaded is actually an unboxing from multiple small creators' stationery subscriptions. So if that is something that you're interested in my previous video I actually showed you 3 different small creators stationery subscriptions, like Penpal subscriptions. 2 of them are from Patreon. One is Album Love Handmade, I'm going to say it again, and the other one is Curated Monotony. I still don't know how to pronounce that. They are little Penpal stationery sets. I basically subscribe to them on Patreon. And then the other one is from Nikki Dotti, who runs a Dutch web shop and who also designs all of her stationery herself. So if you're interested in original Penpal stationery and would love to see an unbiased video about it, because I purchased all of that with my own money, definitely check out my previous upload, because it's really, really fun. I absolutely love those unboxings. I love filming them. Honestly, I love opening the envelopes and seeing what's inside. And I love showing them to you. So it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win. Yeah. Good story. I have said that numerous times in this video. Good story, good story. But like I said, today's my day off. And although I do not work full time, I'm still pretty tired. I'm always tired. And I notice that in my thought process. So if I'm rambling, it's either because I'm super happy and chatty, or it's because my brain is not functioning. So in the background, you can see me add the goodies, not do the goodies, but add the goodies. I included lots of tags. I included some of the stickers that I also used myself. I included some collage paper, vintage cookie cards, because I love them and I think they are such a nice gift to share. And then that is that. I do not recall if I added more to this. I might have. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh yeah, the sticker says right here. But here is an up-close look of the finished project. If you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to leave them in a comment down below. I would love to answer them. Sometimes people will, for example, ask me where I get certain stationery, and I can usually tell you if I haven't linked it down below already. This is my little mini note card that says hello and the paper letter blog. I put it in the back because obviously it does not match the aesthetic of this project. But I also have to admit, many of the things I used in this project are actually sent to me in mail, just by other people sharing their stuff with me. If you've made it to the end, congratulations. I think that's a very admirable achievement. If you're still here, let me know what your favorite style is in making mail. Is it vintage like this one, or is it more modern? Is it colorful? Is it not colorful? I would love to know. And I hope you're all doing amazing. I'm always so terrible at these outros. I just really quickly want to thank my patrons while you are going to watch me close this up. Thank my amazing patrons for supporting the channel and helping me grow and expand and try new things. And if you want to join them, then you can. Link is in the bio down below. I have 2 tiers, one for €1.50, which is a tip jar, and one for €3 a month, which is the Corrupt Club member tier. So check them out if you like. Also follow me on Instagram, blah blah blah, and I will talk to you again very soon. Okie dokie, bye!